I'm Ngân. Today we're going to discuss about managing social responsibilities and ethics. Deciding when and how ethical and socially responsible an organization needs to be raised. Complicated issues managers may have to address as they plan, organize, lead, and control. As managers manage, the issues can and do influence their action. Let's see what we can learn about social responsibilities and ethics. First, what is social responsibility? Social obligation, which reflects the classical view of social responsibility, is when a firm engages in social actions because of its obligation to meet certain economic and legal responsibilities. Social responsiveness is when a firm engages in social actions in response to some popular social need. Social responsibility is a business intention beyond its economic and legal obligations to pursue long-term goals and they are good for the society. Both of these reflect the socio-economic view of social responsibility, determining whether organizations should be socially involved can be done by looking at arguments for and against it. Other ways to assess the impact of social involvement on the company's economic performance and evaluate the performance of SRI funds versus the non-SRI funds. We can conclude that a company's social responsibility doesn't appear to hurt the company's economic performance. Let's move to the second part, green management and sustainability. Until the late 1960s, few people and organizations paid attention to the environmental consequences of their decisions and actions. Increasingly, managers have begun to consider the impact of their organization on the natural environment, which we call green management. Green management is when managers consider the impact of their organization on the natural environment. What do managers need to know about going green? Organizations can go green in different ways. The light green approach is doing what is required legally, which is social obligation. Using the market approach, organizations respond to the environmental preference to their customers. Using the stakeholders approach, organizations respond to the environmental demands of multiple stakeholders. Both the market and stakeholders approaches can be viewed as social responsiveness. With an activist or a dark green approach, an organization looks for ways to respect and preserve the earth and its natural resources, which can be viewed as social responsibility. Green actions can be evaluated by examining reports that companies compile about their environmental performance, by looking for compliance with global standards for environmental management, and by using the global 100 list of the most sustainable corporations in the world.
Hello, my name is Lin and I will continue with part 3, Managers and Ethic Behavior. So, let's discuss some factors that determine ethical and unethical behavior. First, state of moral development, which is divided into 3 parts, the pre-conventional level, conventional level, and principle level. Each level has 2 stages. Second, individual characteristics include values and personality, which play a role in determining whether a person behaves ethically, although they seem similar, but they are not. Third, structural variables include ethical choices, include goal, performance appraisal system, and reward allocation procedures. And the last one, organization's culture. The content and strength of this factor influence ethical behavior. So, at the end, you can see that The behavior of managers is the single most important influence on an individual's decision to act ethically or unethically. Move to the next one. Ethics in an international context. Social and cultural differences between countries are important factors that determine ethical or unethical behavior. It's important for individual managers working in foreign countries to recognize the social, cultural, and political legal influences on what is appropriate and acceptable behavior. They can use the United Nations Global Compact, which is an initiative created by the United Nations. So, that is the end of my part.
My name is Thu, and today we will go through the part which is encouraging ethical behavior. So first, let's look at some specific ways that manager can encourage ethical behavior and create a comprehensive ethics program. The employee selection process, such as interviews, tests, background checks, should be viewed as an opportunity to learn about an individual's level of moral development, personal value, ego strength, and locus of control. Next one is about the definition of the code of ethics. It is a formal statement of an organization's value and the ethical rules it expects employees to follow. Nowadays, it is becoming more popular globally. And we do have a question that doing business ethically requires a commitment from manager at all levels, but especially the top level. So why? Because they are the ones who uphold the shared values and set the cultural tone. They are the role model in terms of both words and actions. So what they do is far more important than what they say. And the top manager also set the tone by their reward and punishment practices. The choices of whom and what are rewarded with the pay increase and promotions send a strong signal to employees. And talking about the ethic training, more organizations are setting the seminar, workshop, and similar ethic training program to encourage the ethical behavior. Like critics stress that the effort is pointless because people establish their individual value system when they are young. And proponents note, however, that several studies have shown that the value can be learned after early childhood. In addition, they cite evidence that shows that teaching ethical problem solving can make an actual difference in ethical behaviors. That training has increased individuals' level of moral development, and that, if nothing else, ethics training increases awareness of ethical issues in business. And we will move to the next part, which is about social responsibility and ethic issues in the today's world. Well, managers can manage ethical lapses and social irresponsibility by being strong ethical leaders and by protecting employees who raise ethical issues. The example set by managers has a strong influence on whether employees behave ethically. Ethical leaders also are honest, share their values, and stress important share value and use the reward system appropriately. Managers can protect whistleblower, uh, which is a employee who raise ethical issues and concerns by encouraging them to come forward by setting up the tone-free ethic hotlines and by establishing a culture in which employees can complain and be heard without fear or reprisal. social entrepreneur play an important role in solving social problems by seeking out opportunity to improve the society by using practical, innovative, and sustainable approaches. Social entrepreneurs want to make the world a better place and have a thriving passion to make that happen. Businesses can promote positive program change through cooperate philanthropy and employees volunteer efforts.
Hi, I'm Tu, and let's move to case application 1. The first question is, how can Technogym balance being socially responsible and being focused on profit? The ability for Technogym to produce a profit is just as important as his commitment to social responsibility is. Encourage students to think about the value that Technogym gives to its customers and underprivileged children. The next question is, would you describe Nero Alexandri's approach as social obligation, social responsiveness, or social responsibility? It should be obvious that Neo-Alexandria donation efforts go beyond social obligation. If students stick with the founder's assessment that this is an effort to do the right thing, then Nero is behaving with social responsibility. The third question is, how can a manager emphasize genuineness of corporate social responsibilities and activities in society? It's easy. First, they can conduct a survey whether the employee's salary meets their basic demand for their life. Next, they can see the cash flow statement, whether the cash flows has been used for social purposes. And the last thing is conduct a survey of social satisfaction with the enterprises. The last question is, do you think the Wellness Foundation can boost Technogym's turnover? Why and why not? I think it's a yes. Wellness Foundation can boost Technogym's turnover. In order to successfully achieve the project's goal, Wellness Foundation needs the support of equipment from Technogym, and by that way, when Technogym supplies their equipment, it means that they've already made a profit. It's the end of my part. Now, Kang will continue.
The case application to of chapter 6 is about the lesson about Lehman Brothers. So the case talk about the bankruptcy of the Lehman Brothers company. So let's move to the question number 1. Lehman Brothers had a culture problem as they incentivize their employees to take excessive risk. Basic rules are the way companies grow and expand. They are designed to make money at all costs was more important than following basic ethical values. The next question is, the culture at Lehman Brothers was to take risks at all costs. When transactions were presented to them, they ignored the warning signals costing them. The third question is, they were very stubborn and displayed very bad conduct and poor judgment. Voluca's report was highly critical of Lehman's executive, who should have done more and done better. The next question is, there are many things that could have done to prevent it if there were top managers that actually care about the company beside themselves, building a better, proper culture and reward structure. The last question is, the answer is no. Many companies promote positive working environments. The company's responsibility is to promote and act ethically, enabling employees to follow suit. If the company focus on ethical leadership, the company will be ethical and profitable. It's the end of chapter 6.
Hi, I'm Ngân, and today we're gonna talk about innovation and why it is important to companies and how can managers manage innovation. Because innovation is often closely tied to an organization change of efforts. Now, let's start by looking at change and how managers manage the changes. Two very different metaphors can be used to describe a change process. First, the calm waters metaphor suggests that the change is an occasional disruption in the normal flow of events and can be planned and managed as it happens. The second is in the white rapids metaphor, change is ongoing and managing it is a continual process. Lewin's three-step model says that change can be managed by unfreezing the status quo, which means old behaviors, changing to a new stage, and refreezing the new behaviors.
Hello, my name is Lin and I will continue with part 2, types of organizational change. So, what is organizational change? It is any interaction of people, structure, and technology. Organizational changes often need someone to act as catalyst and assume the responsibility for changing process, that is, change agents. Therefore, internal managers may be more thoughtful but possibly over-cautious because they must live with the consequences of their decision. Move to some types of change. The first one is changing structure. Includes any change in structural variable such as reporting relationships and coordination mechanisms, employee empowerment, or job redesign. Second, changing technology encompass modification in the way the work is performed or the method and equipment that are used to convert inputs into output and usually involve the instruction of new equipment, tools, or methods, automation or computerization. And the last one, changing people, refers to change in attitude, expectation, perceptions, and behavior of individuals or groups. Organizational development is the term used to describe change methods that focus on people and the nature, quality of personal work relationship. So that is the end of my part.
My name is Thư and today we will go through a part which is managing resistance to change. We know it's better for us to eat healthy and to be active, yet few of us follow that advice. We resist making change in our lifestyle. Change can be a threat to people in an organization. Organization can build up that motivates people to resist changing their status, even though change might be beneficial. Why do people resist change and what can be done to minimize the resistance? The main reasons include uncertainty, habits, concern over personal loss, and the belief that the change is not in the organization's best interest. The first cause is change replaces the know of uncertainty. Another cause of resistance is that we do things out of habit. The third cause of resistance is the fear of losing something already possessed. And the final cause of resistance is a personal belief that the change is incompatible with the goals and interests of the organizations. And when managers see resistance to change, what can they do? Several strategies have been suggested in dealing with resistance to change. These approaches include education and communication, participation, facilitation and support, negotiation, manipulation and cooperation, and coercion. Managers should view these techniques as tools and use the most appropriate one, depending on the type and source of the resistance. The first technique is education and communication, can help reduce resistance to change by helping employees see the logic of the change efforts, assumes that much of the resistance lies in misinformation and poor communication. And next one is the participation. It involves bringing those individuals directly affected by the proposed change into the decision-making process. Their participation allows the individuals to express their feelings, increase the quality of process, and increase the employee's commitment to the final decision. The facilitation and support involve helping employees deal with the fear and anxiety associated with the change effort. This help may include employee counseling, therapy, new skill training, or a short paid leave of absence. Negotiation involves changing something of value for an agreement to lessen the resistance to change efforts. This resistance technique may be quite useful when the resistance comes from the powerful sources. The last technique is about manipulation and cooperation, refer to convert attempts to influence others about the change. It may involve distorting facts to make the change appear more active. Finally, the coercion can be used to deal with resistance to change. It involves the use of direct threats or force against the resistance. So my teammate will continue the next part.
Hi, my name is Tu, and I'm going to discuss about the contemporary issues in managing change. The shared values that comprise an organization's culture are relatively stable, which makes it difficult to change. Managers can do so by being positive role models, creating new stories, symbols, and rituals, selecting, promoting, and supporting employees who adopt the new values, redesigning socialization processes, changing the reward system, clearly specifying expectations, employees to participate in change. Stress is the adverse reaction people have to excessive pressure placed on them from extraordinary demands, constraints, or opportunities. To help employees deal with stress, manager can address job-related factors by making sure an employee's ability match the job requirements, improve organizational communications, or use a performance planning program, and last, redesign the job. Addressing personal stress factor is trickier, but managers could offer employee counseling, time management programs, and wellness programs. Making change happen successfully involves focusing on making the organization change capable and making sure managers understand their own role in the process and giving individual employees a role in the process. That's the end of my part. Now will continue.
The L5 of our chapter 7 is to describe techniques for stimulating innovation. Creative is the ability to combine ideas in a unique way or to make unusual association between ideas. Innovation is turning the outcomes of the creative process into useful products or work methods. Important structural variables include an organic type structure, abundant resources, frequent communication between organization units, minimal time pressure and support. Important cultural variables include accepting ambiguity, tolerating the impractical, keeping external control minimal, tolerating risk, tolerating conflict, focusing on ends not means, using an open system focus, providing positive feedback, and being an empowering leader. Important human resource variables include high commitment to training and development, high job security, and encouraging the individual to be idea champions. A close and strong connection exists between design thinking and innovation. It involves knowing customers as real people with real problem and converting those insights into usable and real products.
Now, let's move on to the case application 1. What kind of change process did A.S. Watson Group experience since the 1980s, and what activities were conducted in order to smooth the change? In the late 1990s, the company experienced two kinds of change, which were people and structure. The managers adopt a new set of employee training modes to not just only improve the staff product knowledge, sales and service skills, but also to promote the group business philosophy to each employee. What's your interpretation of the company's philosophy? Look good, feel great, and have fun. How does such philosophy make this company differ from its competitors? This philosophy refers to customer experience when they go shopping. The company develops personal care store concept follow this philosophy. And having nice experience when going shopping is important to gain more loyal customers. And this is what makes this company differ from its competitors. What could other company learn from A.S. Watson Group's new business model? Instead of trying to lower the cost, using advertisement or applying a promotion to attract new customers, a firm can focus on convenience and shopping experience to gain more loyal customers. And the last question, what underpins this company's success? The international mergers and acquisition strategies help the company expand its brand and reach more customers from all over the world. Additionally, the top management team did really well in the changing process with the set of employee training modes and the personal care store concept.
So let's move to the case 2. Well, working under pressure can affect both physical and mental health. The suicide rate of employees at Telecom Group in France and Foxconn in China is the most obvious proof. Since the 2008 till 2011, more than 50 people committed suicide and dozens of failed self-murder at Telecom Group attracted the attention of mass media and society in France. The main cause of that heartbreaking incident was about work pressure. Company executives came up with solutions to change that situation, such as choosing a new CEO whose aim is curing employees' health that suffer from mental trauma. Also, working at home was encouraged. Besides, Foxconn was criticized for mistreating its workers and forcing them to work in an unhealthy environment. Apple and Foxconn then came up with solutions to improve working condition for employees, assembling iPhone and iPads. By hiring from more workers, upgrade factories and launching projects, which are worth about $224 million to build 1 million robots. This robot empire of Viking will alternate half of a million Foxconn workers and increase their worth in a value chain